Welcome to the Weight Loss Podcast, where we offer solutions to the obstacles you face when it comes to achieving your health and fitness goals. As a married couple who's lost a combined weight of 100 kilograms and 11 clothes sizes, our raw, real, and relatable stories will show you the path you must walk to achieve and, more importantly, maintain the results you know you can reach. Because we know it works. So get ready to share the success and show the results with your hosts, Matt and Courtney.
Hello, yes, we are Matt and Courtney, and we are here to introduce a very special guest we have on today's episode. We have done an interview with Ricci, and
by now,
it was amazing.
Oh, it was 5 stars.
Yeah.
So somewhere around the screen here, you will now see her current before and after. Now, the photos are incredible, but as you'll learn listening to this interview that we did, that just barely scratches the surface of how much this woman has actually changed.
Yeah.
So, yes, she's been a client of ours now for just over 2 years. And I like to say this a lot, like, you are as good as the people you work with.
Yeah.
So she's done everything you could ever ask for someone, given how hard it's been for her since when she started. So we had a really tremendous, long, deep dive discussion with her, which we'll throw over to you shortly. Get your notepad out, or your notepad out on your phone.
Yeah.
And just this woman, just her insights, her perspective, how much she has evolved internally through this process goes beyond just numbers on the scales or how much a person has changed visually. The internal change has been
huge,
profound. So let's just shut up and throw straight to it, shall we?
Yeah.
See you on the other side.
Yep.
So we are here with, I would say, one of the best human beings, but also one of the best transformations you'll ever see in your life, and just an all-around top chick. Ricci has joined us. Thank you so much.
Hi.
I feel like we need like a clap track or something.
I mean, I've got it on here on my little DJ device. That can be done if I can remember the right button.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know.
That's the good one.
That's not it.
That's not it? No. Okay. Whoops. All right. So, Ricci, let's get into it because you've got a lot to share and a lot of value to give. I just want to start by just asking, like, before we met you, who were you? Where were you? What led you to, I suppose, to coming through to us originally? Like, what happened at the start?
Okay, so I've always had a background of struggling with either restricting or binging. It was one or the other. I was always stuck in this binge restrict cycle. And, I was trying to think, like, I was trying to pinpoint a moment. Like, when did I start, like, really thinking about weight? When did weight become a problem for me? And I can remember, I think I got it. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was a child. I was running through the store, like all the clothing racks. As a kid, I would go and hide in those and like scare my parents. So whenever my mom was really upset with me, what she would do is she'd grab me by the soft skin right here and twist it really hard. And one time I was playing in the clothing racks, and it was in the plus size section. And my mom grabbed me and she twisted my arm and she said, "Don't you ever go back there. Like, that is unacceptable." And so I was just terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, like what did I do? And so from that moment on, I learned that, like, there's nothing worse than being fat, right? And then, fast forward a few years, I got pretty sick with asthma when I was like, I don't know, between 8 and 10. And they put me on a lot of steroids. And one of the number one side effects of steroids is weight gain. So I started gaining a little bit of weight from there. And then keep in mind, like, my mom never cooked, never meal prepped, nothing like that. So I was exclusively eating junk food. Like, my mom's grandiose cooking was Hamburger Helper. Like, I was lucky if I got Hamburger Helper. So I struggled with that. And then when I was 16, I got into a car accident and I got pretty sick after that. And I ended up being diagnosed with celiac disease. And when I got diagnosed with celiac disease, which is an allergy, it's basically like, it's an autoimmune disease to wheat, barley, and rye, in case you don't know. And I went through a lot of grief with that. Like, 16 years old is a hard time to come to terms with everything in life. But all of a sudden, all the foods that I had eaten were not okay. And I felt like I was so restricted. And plus, I live in a rural area. So back when I was diagnosed, like I didn't even have bread on the shelves. Like I had nothing. And so I would eat to comfort myself, one, for the grief, but two, because I was afraid that I would never get it again. Like, oh my gosh, this is a gluten-free dessert. I will never get this again. So that's pretty much my background in a nutshell. You know, I ended up getting older. I got married. I had kids. That added a little bit more on there. All the way throughout, it was constantly, you know, I did all the diets. I was on Weight Watchers when I was like 8 or 9, somewhere around there. But
Really?
I did, yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't really understand it. As I got a little bit, I remember like 12 is when I started to like really understand it. But yeah, I did all the supplements, you know, like the what is it, hydroxycut or whatever. Like I did all of those. I did all the caffeine supplements, all the, you name it. I've done it. You know, and then I would constantly, like, I used to be obsessed with counting calories. And so it was like a game to like see how low I could get my calories. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Something timed out on my end. Sorry about that. But anyway, it was a obsession with counting calories, and it was when I had met you guys. I had just gone on my most latest binge restrict cycle where I was restricting super hard, lost about 30 pounds, and then was super super hungry, and then I gained it all back and then some within like a couple months. Like it was pretty intense. And I was like, this is not working. Like something is wrong here. And your podcast was the only one that I had heard, like the only person that I talked to that was like, stop focusing on calories, because everything you look on online, everything that you see, they're like calories in, calories out. That's all that matters. Calories, calories, calories. So I was like, I have to take calories out of the equation. That's the only way.
So, one, hydroxycut, like OG supplement. Haven't heard that. Haven't heard that word for a long time. That was a big deal. Like what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, and it was expensive too.
Yeah, it was. That was like the bee's knees supplement. I think it got taken off the market for having illegal ingredients.
It doesn't surprise me. Who knows what that shit is, like, honestly.
But with yourself, like you said, Weight Watchers at 8. How was that put to you when you were that young? Because that's tough.
It was tough. It was tough. You know, my mom was like kind of in and out of it, so she kind of helped me a little bit. But you would back in the day, they had the website, and then eventually they had the barcode thing when I was a little bit older. But you would just put in what the product was, and they'd say, okay, this is 2 points, 4 points, whatever. And so that was simple enough for me, because keep in mind, like I was eating exclusively processed food. So okay, I'll log this box of mac and cheese or this soup or whatever it was. So it in that sense, it was doable.
Was obviously that wasn't your decision to do it.
You know, it's hard. Like I don't obviously no. Like I didn't have the full perspective, but
Yeah.
I definitely, she made me feel like it was like, she was like, you know, this is what it takes. Like this is what you have to do. You know, and my mom was so harsh. Like she, you know, I have a mother wound. I really do. You know, she would say, no one will ever love you if you don't lose weight, if you're not skinny. No guy will ever want to be with you. You know, that it hurts to be beautiful. You know, I'm doing this because I care about you. Like you don't want to be one of those women. Like, you know, that's the worst thing you could be. So
Yeah, like I don't want to sound like I'm stuck on that. It's just that that's not an uncommon thing to hear. Where people start at a super young age and they are exposed to different sorts of authority figures in their life, and you can sort of trace back a person's relationship with themselves, their body, food, etc., to these super young ages, and it is sad.
well, yeah, and you have to keep in mind, I mean, especially as I've gotten older and aged out, I see, you know, my grandma, she's still alive. She's in her late 80s, early 90s. She is still starving herself. She is still going through that. So, like, it, you know, and then I'm sure her mom was doing that, and who knows how far back up it goes.
Comes generational.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned like when you sort of when we met you, sounds like you got to the stage where like what calories were like enough of this shit.
Yeah, I was so sick of it. Like I was like, this is not working. And I was so obsessed, and I could see the obsession. And I was still skeptical, right? Because I was still like, no, this is science. Like you can't thermodynamics, like you this is what it is. But I knew somewhere deep down that like you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting it to be different. That's, the definition of insanity is what they say. Like something had to give.
How low were
And
you
then
getting after you? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, another part of during that time period when I started with you guys is that I had my best friend in the entire world. That's probably a story for another podcast, but he got this girlfriend and completely lost his mind and she lost her mind. And it's to this day one of the worst human beings I've ever met in my life. And she was awful to me. She would be like, "Oh, you're perpetuating diet culture. Get away from me. I can't believe you're eating a salad. That's disgusting. You hate fat people." Just on and on. And I was like, this bitch, like, I am not gonna. And then I was going through the grief and people, you talk about grief of a divorce or grief from a death, but grief from losing a best friend is not talked about a lot. So I had this crazy grief that I was going through of like losing my best friend. And this girl was so mean to me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show her. Like I am gonna lose this weight and I'm gonna spite her. And yeah, I was angry.
Huh.
I understand that. That's Can I just say I completely agree with you. I don't think grief of losing friendships is spoken about enough. Losing
Yeah.
family is spoken about, obviously death and
Mhm.
everything associated with grief in terms of death is spoken about a lot. But losing someone instrumental in your life, a real confidant, like someone who you've grown to trust, and losing that person, I agree. I don't think that is ever spoken about enough. And then to add on top of it, the reason why you lost that friend is just
Well, and it's insane because I mean to put it in perspective, like he was the godfather of my children. He was on all the pictures on my wall. Like we were more like family than we were friends.
I was gonna
And
say, it
and
does
and
seem
when
like
that
family.
happened, yeah, when that happened, my children grieved. Like
Mm.
they grieved. And it was such on a dime. Like he met this woman and he threw away our friendship of most like, and my husband, he was best friends with my husband since third grade. Like I still cannot believe it. Like it's still kind of like in shock because if there's one person you would never imagine your life without, like that was him. And yeah, and the way that it went down and it was rough. It was rough. It was way rough.
So this
Yeah.
was just before we met you.
It was like right at that time.
So you were sort of like actively working on yourself, and we're getting
Yeah.
this blowback, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. And you have to understand, like I'm a pretty private person. Like you will never catch me being one of those people that's like gallivanting a salad or like being like I'm losing weight. Like I don't like talking about that kind of stuff. It's very difficult for me. And so like that the fact that like she went out of her way to be so hateful to me about it. And like, I understand now, being on the other side that these were projections coming from her and this was problems with herself. But back then I was like, I don't know, like who the fuck asked you? Like I didn't ask you anything. I'm sitting here minding my own business. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's when you've got the experience that you've got now, you can look back and be like, well, that's just a reflection of someone else and their problem. But back
Well, yeah,
then, you don't know.
and then I was like, I was just noticing a lot of the victim mentality that she had and that I had within myself. So like she was a little bit younger than us. She was only 25 years old when this happened. And she would straight up say, "Hey, I'm not going to go grocery shopping to Walmart because that is too much walking." And I'm like, "You're 25 years old and you think that going to the grocery store is too much walking?" Like that is concerning. And she and yeah, I mean, just the way that she did not take care of herself or take care of anything else. Like I can remember, so our other friend Felipe, he was sleeping in the basement because they all shared a house together. And he wakes up in the middle of the night and there's like stuff dripping on his head. And so he like wakes up and freaks out and thinks that a pipe has burst or something. So he like goes upstairs to investigate it. Well, it turns out that she had bought one of those giant gas station drinks and spilled it. And it had seeped through the entire floor and subfloor. And she just was too lazy to clean it up. She's like, no. And so when Jose, my best friend, came home, he cleaned it up hours later. And like she, like she wouldn't even carry her own laundry basket. Like, and it's devolving into something else. Like it's neither here nor there. But I just realized that like the excuses that she's telling herself that she is incapable of this, and I'm watching like how deluded she is, and I'm like, what am I telling myself here? Like, what in my life can I change that I just ignore?
It's amazing that you had the mentality then to really self-reflect, because considering what would have already been going through your mind because of the things that were said to you throughout the years, throughout your childhood, which would have been still playing on your mind, because obviously those sort of things we remember forever. And then to go through this and to have that sort of thrown in your face like it was, and to not only that, but to be also splitting up a long-term friendship at the same time, that it's actually astounding to me that you had the self-reflection at that time to really think about it in terms of, this is what I don't want to be. And I need to turn away from this, because you could have easily slipped into the other way, and I wouldn't have blamed you for it mentally because of what was happening and where you've come from. But it is honestly, you should be applauded for the fact that you actually were able to self-reflect during that time, because I don't know whether I could.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, a big thing is that my daughter, she was 4 at the time, and she was finally getting to that age where she is starting to understand things and see the world. And I'm like, I don't want this for her. I don't want this life for her. I don't want her to worry about taking care of me as she gets older. That's my number one priority. And so something had to give, and both of my children, but my daughter, especially being a woman, like I had to break the cycle.
It is that cycle breaking. Yeah, I was about to say that the cycle had to break somewhere, and it's broken with you. You did
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate that a lot.
So you mentioned the word skeptical, which is very, very common, we find. And by the way, completely understandable. Elaborate more on that.
Yeah, well, so like I said, if you go online, people are like, calories in, all you have to worry about is calories. Like if you just look up a random calorie calculator and put it in there and follow that, it cannot go wrong. And if it does go wrong, then it's your fault. And so there's all that blame that is associated with that. And so I was skeptical because I was like, what do these people really have to offer that, in my opinion, the science had already decided? Like, this is already done. Like, I have a willpower problem. That was what I felt like at the time. So how are these people going to help me with that willpower problem? And it's very, Instagram and Facebook and everything, like everyone, it's always like someone's trying to sell you something. And I'm like, so what are these people doing? Like, what supplements are they hiding? What MLM is behind this?
The new
Can't
hot
help but be a
sugar.
little skeptical there.
Understandable. I mean, the funny thing is, like thermodynamics, like energy balance, like it is all true, except
It is. Absolutely.
it falls apart when you try and apply it to the context of living, breathing human beings with emotions
Exactly.
and backgrounds and history, and then it just takes the nuance out of it.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, you know what? Like, if you were a lab rat and you were put into a controlled experiment where they only fed you weighed food every day and you had nothing else and no one else in your life, yeah, absolutely, that would work while you were in there. But take anything outside of that. Like, it's just because something is technically true doesn't make it useful. And I'm interested in what's useful.
Couldn't agree more. Like it is accurate when you're reading it in a textbook. And it's what I learned myself personally going through like PT school is like, oh, okay, it's this, it's this, it's this. Then you try and apply it to a person and fucking all bets are off.
Yeah. People are not science experiments. They have thoughts, feelings, emotions, and things that they have to work through. They have habits that they need to change. This is all very complicated stuff. It's not, if it was as easy as calories in, calories out, we would not have no one would have a weight problem, because that is as simple as it gets.
We'd be out of a job. This podcast wouldn't exist. There'd be no obesity crisis in Western countries. Like, Australia, the US, etc., wouldn't be as overall as fat and unhealthy as we are. It's never that simple. So with yourself, you got past the skepticism, you get up and running, and we get you going. Like, what did you do? What have you done? Because for anyone that's watching this, like, you are going to, like, you see this woman with these great arms and great shoulders
Oh, thanks.
looking at us there. Like, that doesn't go unnoticed, by the way. But the contrast to where you were when you first started to now honestly makes your head explode. But what did you do when we first got underway? Like, talk about your training. What did you do from a habitual standpoint to get this going? Like, where did you start?
Yeah, so it was the surprising thing, and you've heard this multiple times, but it's so true, is that you start slow. I was like, okay, let's go balls to the wall. Like, I'll do 7 days a week at the gym. Let's do that. Like, you know, and you're like, no, no, we will not be doing that. Absolutely not. And I was like, okay, well, at least let me, do all the learning components. Like, I'll binge learn, and I'll write up an essay overnight. Like, we'll get that done immediately. And you're like, nope, nope, nope. Like, you're only gonna get what you're gonna get very slowly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And so it starts out very slow. And back then I was only doing 2 days at the gym. Now keep in mind, as I'm wearing this shirt, keep in mind that I had never been to the gym before in my life. Ever. Like, that is a big deal. I remember the first time I went to the gym, I went in there and I like freaked out. I had a literal panic attack in the bathroom. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, calm down, like just relax, like just get through it. And so anyway, we started out a couple days at the gym, just getting my toes dipped into it, just getting the feeling of it. And then once we were positive that I could nail 2 days a week at the gym, and I did, we started moving up from there, and it just progressed from there. And then, same with diet. You were like, you just make some foods that sound good. Here's an awesome recipe list. Like, let me know what sounds good. So I just started making whole foods, and that makes such a huge difference. Like, I obviously, having celiac disease, I had been forced to learn how to cook. Like, you have to learn how to cook. And so I knew how to cook, but when you incorporate quality foods, it completely changes your life. Like, the inflammation goes down, you start to get clearer thinking, better skin. I mean, all these there's like a snowball effect when you start eating actual healthy food and not just lowering your calories for the sake of it. Because you have to keep in mind, like, because I was so obsessed with calories and I had a major addiction to junk food, that was the allure of counting calories to me. I was like, okay, well, I can have, let's say, 1,500 calories a day. So how many Halo Tops is that? Because that's what I'm going to eat. And I did. And then, so I would fill it up with Doritos and Halo Tops, whatever else I could. And then by the end of the day, I'd be starving. I'd be so hungry. And then I would eat and I'd overeat it. And then I would berate myself. And I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Why don't you have this willpower? Like, what is wrong? Like, why can't you just do this? Why can't you stick to this? And now it's like, duh. Like, of course, I was starving. But so I had never really considered the importance of nutrition because I was so obsessed with calories.
That's one thing it does. The numbers takes you away from what the actual choices do for your body. And it sort of blinds you from being able to listen to your body signals that you get from food.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get over the gym anxiety?
So, I mean, one of the biggest things, obviously, is you have to have a plan, right? If you go in there and you know what you're doing and you know what machines you're using or what your program is, then that alleviates a lot of the anxiety, because then you're not just wandering around like, oh gosh, I don't know. And then the other thing is that it may sound harsh, but you just have to do it. Like, that's the only way. Like, you just have to keep doing it, and the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. But you know, you just have to realize that, like, you are not that important. Like, no one really cares what you're doing. Like, and so, yeah, you may feel silly, but feeling silly is the price you pay to get better at something. And I really wanted to get good at this. So I was like, okay, like, it may suck right now, but one day I'm going to be good at this.
Do you ever get anxious now going to the gym?
Oh, going to the gym? No, I don't get anxious. In fact, I love it. It kind of, it's funny that the switch happened. I'm not quite sure when it happened, but I find a lot of solace in the gym. I find happiness and peace in the gym. And now, like, I love traveling and exploring other gyms and seeing what they have to offer and meeting other people. So I that fear is completely alleviated for me. Now, there's still a little bit of fear, like when you learn something new, because you're like, am I gonna look stupid doing it? And you are. That's just how it is. but that's just part of it, and I have enough confidence now that it's like I will figure this out and it's going to be better and I'll be better for it. Like, I love the challenge.
Yeah, especially the part about not being afraid to look silly, because also, to be fair, most people in the gym don't know what they're looking at. So you might be getting it wrong.
100%.
9 out of 10 people won't be able to pick it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no, it's absolutely true.
and always, you're correct. Like, you ain't that special. No one gives a shit about you.
They really don't. They don't. And I've only ever had like I think one or two people say stupid comments to me, and it's so I think there was one guy that was like, "Hey, do you know that you like put the plate in there or put the pin in there to get the plate to move?" Or like, I don't even remember what he said, and I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, no one asked you shit. Like, honestly, if people judge you for being at the gym, then like they should be embarrassed of themselves because that is pathetic. Like, that is some really pathetic behavior, and I judge them for that, so I'm gonna judge them back for that.
No, you can't judge someone for wanting to improve themselves. That's what helped me get over my gym anxiety, is realizing, hang on, we're all here for the same reason. We want to get better.
Yeah. Well, and every single person, I used to think that like the gym is for fit people and only fit people go to the gym, but every single person that is in that gym had a starting place, whether they were overweight, whether they were underweight, uncomfortable with their body. No one just walks in there. Like I literally thought like, I'm like, oh, I'll just do like YouTube exercises. And then when I'm really fit, then I'll walk into the gym and then I'll just magically know what I'm doing. And no, it does absolutely does not work like that. And then the other cool thing is like my gym, they partner with a physical therapy place. So I really do see all manners of people, overweight, underweight, disabled, mentally disabled, like you name it. Like, it is inclusive to everybody.
It helps put things in perspective, and you realize that it's not the mountain you thought it was.
No, it's not. It's not. It's really, but I get it. I understand the fear. I struggled with it myself. So I understand when people say that they're nervous. I relate to you a lot, but you just suck it up and get in there and do it. And then the more you do it, the easier it is. It really is.
I think you're right. Like, it's fine to be nervous. It's fine to be anxious. Do it anyway.
Mhm. Yeah. Don't let that fear control you.
So, how many times are you in the gym per week now? You said you started you on 2 times, upper and lower body for weights. What's happening now?
Yeah. So now I go about 5 days a week. I usually do like an upper lower split, and then I have a hit day. And that works out great for me. I'm very comfortable with it. I never feel like I am overextended. I always have plenty of rest time. Um, it's a good balance for me.
What did you learn about the build up? So we started on 2 days of weights. Now your upper and lower split now would be is 4 days, yeah?
Yeah.
What have you learned about how to progress that? Because most people would start where you are now, like 2 and a bit years in.
Yeah. Good luck with that. So, it's amazing, like what you'll accomplish with just a couple days at the gym. Like, I was amazed. I was like, no fucking way. Like, I don't believe these people. Like, I'm going to go to the gym 2 days a week and I'm going to actually see some results from that. No, I don't think so. But I did it, and I did, and I saw huge results from then. Less is more. It's true. And you will be amazed what you are able to accomplish. It's the consistency of it that's the most important thing. And if you cannot maintain the consistency, you do not need to be adding it, because everyone wants to talk about optimizing this and optimizing that. And I had that issue big time as well. But optimization does not matter when there is not consistency. If you are consistent 2 days a week at the gym, you are going to go so much further than someone that goes 5 days a week for a month or two. So it's all relative. It's all relative.
Same with the person that goes 5 days a week and just wings it or doesn't know how to push themselves. You'll get way more out of 2 days a week if you know how to how to push on those 2 days and actually train hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's another thing I want to talk about. Is it's funny is that I had such a major reluctance to exercise. I don't know if I can like put this in perspective about how I was not willing to exercise. Is that, well, number one, I have asthma, right? And so I always use that as an excuse. I'm like, well, I'm not able to. I have asthma. And then I looked it up and I found out like 16% of Olympic athletes have asthma. 16%. So what the fuck is my excuse? Right. And then, gosh, like going through college. So this is really embarrassing to admit, but I'm going to admit it because I'm already in a different job. So it's fine. I had gotten all of my credits and I was just about to get my associate's degree. I had one credit left. The last credit was PE. And I was like, nope, not doing that. And just completely gave up. Like, that is how reluctant I was to exercise. Like, I was like, I will do anything but exercise. And that was the other allure of calorie counting, was that they promise you that you don't need to exercise as long as you just count your calories. And so I was obsessed with that idea, and I went around the cycle again and again and again. And when I had met you guys, I was like, you know what? Like, I have to figure out this exercise portion, because if you look up the National Weight Control Registry, have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's basically like this program that tracks people that maintain weight loss over time, right? And they find that just about all of them regularly exercise. So, I had this moment where I sat down with that information, and I'm like, I really want to say that I'll be in the very, very sliver of minority that won't be able to do that. But realistically speaking, I'm in the 90 something percentile, and it's something that I'm gonna have to figure out. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, the funny thing is, you talk about like the calories in, calories out rule of you get your calories right, you don't need to exercise. That then implies that exercise does nothing for your body.
Oh yeah, and still to this day, like, you will find that mentality of people are like, nope, 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 don't even worry about that. Which, like, if you're 600 pounds or something, like, obviously any movement you get is going to be fantastic.
Mm.
But I'm sorry, like, exercise is something that people need to do for their bodies. Like, our bodies were made to exercise, and it's just a fact of life. You have to get over that. Like,
Especially once
suck it up.
you learn even just the smallest bit about muscle building and what that does for your body. Like the whole calories mean you don't need to exercise just falls apart, because like, well, how are you going to build functional strength, ability, athleticism, get rid of pain in your body, age more effectively as you get older? Like, people get into their 40s, 50s, 60s, etc. Like if you haven't got that strength base, you're going to go off a cliff.
Oh, it's literal magic. Like, I feel like I'm in a cult now. Like, I feel like I could walk door to door and like knock on people's door and be like, "Have you met my Lord and Savior exercise? Because I would love to introduce you." So, like, it is life-changing. It really is. And I had no idea when I started, but it is so encompassing. Like, it is amazing what it does for your health, your mental health. We could talk about that all day.
What has it done for your mental health?
Yeah, so it completely changed it. Now, see, I still have anxiety. Like, that is something that I deal with. But it is something that I deal with. When I had first met you guys, I was on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, all of the above. And you know, it was amazing. It was exercise in conjunction with proper nutrition that like healed my body. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, you will never have depression or it's a magical cure all or whatever. But like for me, it kind of was. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I have an outlet. Exercise gives me stress relief. It gives me direction, purpose, nutrition. Inflammation in the body is huge, and it brought all the inflammation down in my body. And then plus, just it helps with your sleep. It helps with, which is big in mental health as well. Um, like, it's just part of living healthy. Like, I used to think that like you could that you can have, like, basically the body and the mind are so intertwined, right? And having a healthy body is going to help you have a healthy mind. Like, you still have to take steps to take care of your mental health. Like, it's not going to just be in a nutshell, but you have to take the time to do that. And then you can talk about like the bacteria in your gut is so important, and it has such to do with your mood. And I'm not a scientist in that realm, so I can't tell you, the exact in and outs of that, but I can confirm that like you fill your body with good food, and the bacteria builds up, and it's so amazing. It's so good for you.
One thing it also does as well, I think you've gone through this as much as anyone, is you learn to trust yourself, because you show that you can do things and you can do hard things.
Yeah, so that has always been the most important thing to me, is that, growing up, my parents failed me a lot, and they hardly ever kept their word, still hardly ever keep their word. And so I feel like it has to start with me, and the word that you keep to yourself is so important. And it'll help you with confidence, it'll help you with your authenticity. Like, you have to be able to trust yourself. first and foremost to navigate this world. And then you can work on trusting other people and trusting other people's intentions. But it starts with you. You have to build that solid foundation. And if you follow through on the things that you told yourself you're going to follow through, you're going to realize that not only are you capable of it, but that you enjoy it and that it's good for you.
Do you say that's kind of like at the core of how you've been able to do this so far? Because obviously, with how far in you are to this now, you've surely realized that what you have done is abnormal.
Well, okay. So like, I'm going to be honest here, like a little bit, something that I really struggle with is body dysmorphia. And, I wish I could sit here and say that I've worked through it and I don't struggle with it, but I do. I still struggle with it. And, so it's hard for me to see. It's hard for me to see the progress in a lot of ways, even though like it's undeniable in some ways. I'm still learning how to navigate the world in my new identity.
That's a hard part too, because what all you've known for decades is this version of you over here. And now you're over here in this version of you now, which is basically you've been here comparatively for 10 minutes.
Yeah, really.
In a new house. And it's like, what the fuck is this? People look at you differently. They speak to you differently. They treat you differently.
So that was the hardest thing that I struggled with, right? Is that until you've been a bigger person and lost a lot of weight, like you don't realize how different the world is to you, especially as a woman. And I dealt with a lot of grief and a lot of anger surrounding that. It was very difficult for me because you have to understand that like I was raised to believe that like my self-worth was literally wrapped around my weight, like it was the most important thing about me. So my biggest fear when I started losing weight was that was true. That my biggest thing that I have to offer this world is my looks and my weight. And so when people started coming out to me through the droves, and like it was so many, and they would give me compliments and they would talk about my body, I felt so exposed and honestly devastated. And it was such a hard thing to work through. Like, number one, I felt selfish, right? Because I felt like these people, they probably have genuinely good intentions. So like, why am I sitting here like turning my nose up at them? So I dealt with that guilt. And then I felt like I felt so vulnerable and raw and scared that like, because it got to a point where all people wanted to talk to me about was, how are you losing weight? What are you eating? What are you doing in the gym? Like people, the most dehumanizing part of it is like some people like they wouldn't even say hi to me. They'd look at me, they'd say, oh my God, you look so much better. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I didn't ask you shit. Like, and keep in mind, like, it's one thing, like, if I was like opening up to them, like, hey, I've been working out, I've been losing weight, blah, blah, blah. But no, like, this was coming up to me cold. And it was hard. Like, I remember I had one woman come up to me. I still don't know this woman's name. She had seen me in passing. And she's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, it is so amazing that you've lost this weight. Like, I am so proud of you. And I'm like, you don't even know who I am. Like, what if I had cancer or something? Damn, like you don't know me. And it was hard. It was hard. And it got all encompassing. Like, I remember I would like lock myself in the bathroom and cry when people would compliment me. And then I would feel so ridiculous about it because I'm like, man, like people dream of this, right? Like they're like, man, I would love people to notice that I lose weight. So like I felt like I was, and then my mom too. Like I remember there was one time I asked my mom, I said, do not comment on my body. And she's like, why are you such a bitch? Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I struggled with it. I struggled with it bad. And working through that, I remember talking to you guys. Like I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. And I was hiding. I wasn't going out anymore. I was hiding from public. I was scared that like anytime I would talk to someone, like that's all they wanted to talk about. And you guys were like, well, you have a choice now. Like you can go back. Like what's back there. So you are free to go back if you want. Or you can see this through and see what comes out on the other side. And I was like, well, I've come this far, and so I think I owe it to myself to see what's on the other side and see if I can work through this. And I'm honestly surprised with how far I've gotten with that, because I started realizing, when you're losing weight and you're in that place, and plus I was really insecure. Like I was the most insecure I've ever been when I was losing weight. So like when people are like, "Oh, you're just so confident." Like, no, fuck you. It is not the confidence. Like
Mm.
people really do respond to that, which is fine. Like it got to a point where I realized like either people being nice to me or people being mean to me, whatever it was, like their reaction to me losing weight was more about how they feel about themselves than it was about me. And so I realized that like this is all just projection. This really has nothing to do with me. And I don't care. Like at this point, like I'm like, like your opinion on my body is not like I don't get you deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. Like that is your business, not my business. Like if you have a problem with it, that's on you. If you are impressed by it, cool. Like that's fine too, but I'm not going to take that to heart either. Like this is I just focus on myself. Like everything that I've done is for me and myself. And so whatever you feel about it is fine. You're entitled to that, but I'm not going to bring that on myself.
I think what helped me, because I used to get similar comments a lot, is just realizing the perspective they're coming from, because you are doing what they are probably trying so damn hard to do themselves.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, this person over here is doing it. What am I doing wrong?
Well, yeah, but see, it's those people that will come up to you and say, "Oh, you're just so lucky, I would love to be able to do that. There's no way I could do that." And so
Then they can't.
whatever, man. Yeah, like the stories we tell ourselves are
Yep.
the most important things of all. So
Yeah.
if you tell yourself that you're too busy, if you tell yourself that you are meant to be fat, if you tell yourself like this is too hard, then all of that is true.
Couldn't agree more. Like the words create the reality. So
Mhm.
if you say that, I could never do that, well, then you won't.
Yeah, 100%. Where's the
Where
button?
Yeah. Record that. That should be the new one.
it's already recorded.
We'll
So
take that.
what has changed now? Because I will say, you sent us the loveliest message we've ever received from anyone by far, talking about, the way things are for you now. Would you be so kind as just to share, like, what is life for you like now in terms of yourself, relationship with your husband, your kids? Like, where are we now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a much better place. With my marriage, I have been extraordinarily blessed to have the most amazing husband. Like he is so kind and supportive to me, and he always has been. Like he has been a major driver for me through all of this. And not because like I always feel so bad for girls that have husbands that are like, "Ah, gross, like you've gained weight." Like my husband has always loved me and supported me, and the reason I was able to is because of that love and support. Like he will step in, he will help meal prep with me. He went to the gym with me. He has gotten in shape himself and bounced off of this. Like it and so you have to understand that like with my marriage, I was so insecure and I felt so bad about myself, and that was rubbing off on him. Like I was constantly miserable, didn't want to go out. I didn't want to be intimate, like didn't want any part of that. Like I just wanted to hide from the world. And so I really felt like I owed it to him to work through this, to feel better about myself, to bring the best version of myself to him. And then as far as my kids go, like I worry so much about how this world is with the quality of food, with the way that we approach dieting, with the way that we approach everything in life. Like I feel like now I'm in such a good place. Like I love it. My daughter, she's 6 years old, and we bought like a little handstand dip bar thing, and she will go up there and she will do pull-ups. Like it's so cool to watch. And then we'll go to the store and she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, like please, I want to buy broccoli." Like this guy was laughing and he's like, "How do you get a child that does that?" Because she's like, please buy me broccoli for dinner." And I so we cook together and they get excited about that. Like my son gets super excited about like chopping up steak and things like that. So that's special to share with them. And then just, it's amazing that I feel like I'm a lot more free in a way. Like, I don't constantly obsess over food. I don't constantly obsess over numbers on the scale. There's freedom to this that cannot be bought.
That word is big.
Yeah, no, it's true, because I used to think that, like, people that got really good at dieting, they had to maintain that forever. And that it was like this box that they put themselves in, because I was in that box, because that's how you diet, right? And I used to like look at people because they'd be like, you know what? Like, I could have the cake if I want it. I just don't want it. And I used to be like, man, like what is that life like? And now that I'm here, I'm like, no, I absolutely can have the cake if I want it. And a lot of times I do, and that's fine. Um, this all or nothing approach that I struggled so hard with is such a prison that doesn't need to exist. Nobody is perfect, and that's perfectly okay.
Once you build that consistency, I mean, you start to
Yeah,
realize that you can get away with things that, like you
yeah,
mentioned, like cake doesn't even touch the sides.
yeah. Well, and you build up to it, it's not like something that you just dive you want to get out of that binge restrict cycle. So you slowly start figuring out what foods work for you, what foods feel good for your body, not because they're 500 calories or 400 calories, but like what about this gives you energy, gives you like what about this just you ever just like eat something and it just feels like amazing on your body. Like, it's just, I love that feeling. I remember so many times where I would go to like fast food and I would spend a shit ton of money and then I'd eat it and I'd be like, man, that wasn't even really that good. I'm disappointed. And then I'd feel like shit on top of that. And I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, honestly, what am I getting out of this?
And you pay for the privilege.
Yeah. And
I
it's
actually,
expensive now.
oh, it's so expensive. We went out the other day and honestly, we were like, why are we doing this when we could have just made this at home? But anyway, sometimes it's nice. I also feel like for me, I can completely understand what you're saying with you just eat something and you just straight away, you're just like, this feels good. Like, it tastes good. It feels good on my body. I actually think I've got to the stage where I'm starting to be able to understand the privilege of also eating something that doesn't feel good. Because I think when
Mhm.
I was overweight and I used to eat a lot of processed foods as well, yes, I knew I didn't feel good, but I think because it was just a constant state, I never
Totally.
really could tell the difference. Whereas now you might get this too, where you eat something that doesn't sit well with you. And I've started to understand that that's also now a privilege. They have to look at that as a privilege and say, I would never have known the difference before. Whereas now I do.
100%. Yeah, like you don't realize how sick you are until you get better. Like, I had no clue. I had no idea. And I think that's part of why it's so hard to change. And especially when you're young, I was in my late 20s. I was getting ready to turn 30. And I was like, I really don't feel that bad, all things considered. Well, like, what? I have nothing to lose here. And so um it was mostly how I felt about like my self-esteem and myself. And then once I started actually going through it, I'm like, holy shit, I had no idea my body was capable of the things that it's capable of.
Yeah, I agree. I went through something similar, that realization that you're stronger physically and mentally than I ever gave myself credit for.
Mhm.
I
Well, and it's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Right. Well, yeah, because like, so you start out and you go to the gym, you're like, whatever, I have to do this. I guess I want to lose weight, so here I am, whatever. And then you start getting fit and you're like, holy shit, I could do stuff with this, right? Like, I can bring in a bunch of groceries at once and not worry. I can go run up 10 flights of stairs and not even think about, well, that's cool. Like, that's fun. I was happy
Yeah.
about that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just these little things that start to happen where it's like you wouldn't think about it previously. Now it's like, wow, okay, that's cool. I can do this.
Yeah. So, like, getting my first dip and then my first pull up was so incredible. Like, I felt like I was on top of the world. Like, I'd been working really hard on it for a long time.
Mm.
And then I achieved it. And I was like, I am capable of anything I put my mind to. Like, you have to be just a little bit delusional in the beginning because you have to be like, you have to believe you can do it. And then, and then you do it and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
It feeds into itself because then it's like, well, what can I do now?
Oh, totally. Yeah, and it does. It's so true that it feeds into other areas of your life. So, a big part of this as well is that I was dealing with a lot at my work. Like they were trying to close down the post office here. And I'm a union president. I'm very attached to my job and I feel like the post office is a valuable service to people. And so during this time, while I was going through all this, I was also traveling all around the country, public speaking, which absolutely killed me, doing everything I could to save, my job and the people that worked there. Um, and so that was a big driving force for me as well. And then I started seeing like I was capable of this, but I was capable of other things. I ended up making a really cool YouTube video with More Perfect Union, and it's all over. I ended up, and I'm proud to say that I was successful. Our plants were one of the few ones that were called off around the country. And so as we're speaking right now, not only did they decide not to close the building, but they decided to bring in a whole new machine, which brings us more mail. So that was all super exciting.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Big question. What you've gone through the last couple of years, how is it different to what you expected coming in?
So I used to think that that this would have to consume me. I used to think, okay, I'd have to exercise 4 or 5 hours a day at the gym. I'd have to, meticulously count calories or weigh my food or whatever. Like I'd have to be really obsessive over it. And my expectations were that, this was pretty much going to be something that I was going to be boxed in by. And then as I started to get into it, I started to realize the value of consistency. And it became the consistency that made it worthwhile, made it doable, right? Because I don't have to be 100% all the time. I can give what I can give. And sometimes you will be so exhausted and you can just only give what you can give, and that's all you can give, and that's fine. And that's giving 100% still. So I I really didn't know what I was getting into, honestly. Like I had never been to the gym. I had no idea. But where I am now, like nothing about it feels oppressive, nothing about it feels undoable. Like I can do this forever and I will do this forever, regardless of what anyone says or what happens in my life. Like this is my life now.
That's also how you know you're onto the winning track long term when you can say words like that. I can do this forever.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah,
sustainability test.
yeah, and you take the power into your own hands. Growing up in Wyoming, but in the US, like we're not really taught anything in gym class. Like we are taught to run until you throw up. So like that was my experience of fitness. And then you realize that like you take it into your own hands and you mold it to yourself and you do it within the bounds that you're comfortable with. You realize that like pushing yourself does not have to be this miserable experience that makes you throw up and that makes you hate life. Like it just doesn't have to. You don't have to make yourself miserable. You don't have to. Why would you? You don't have to.
Big one. Tough question, but here we go. What's been the hardest things for you through this?
So definitely, as I said, the comments that was hard for me to work through, and then just going through it. So like something that people don't talk about is like you'll lose weight unevenly. I remember crying to you guys because I had lost like all the weight in my legs, but nothing on the upper half, and I'm like, I look like Humpty Dumpty right now. Like this is not fun. And you're like, well, give up or keep going. Let's see what happens. And I'm like, okay. And I'm so glad I didn't. But I was like, I'm working this hard and I'm looking worse. Like that's some bullshit. Like who decided that? But that's part of it. You're not going to lose weight evenly. It's all relative. I struggled with that. I struggled with my identity. I did not realize that like how much, I put into it. Like I was like, I'm a big girl. Big girls do this. Big girls do that. I'm gonna eat this because I'm a big girl. So breaking that identity was more painful than I expected in a lot of ways, and shaping a new one. Um, and then the other struggle is being kind to myself. Sometimes I struggle with being hard on myself, with the perfectionist mindset, the body dysmorphia, all that. But I started to realize that like you cannot hate yourself into being healthy. Like if you could hate yourself into being healthy, I would have done it a long time ago. Like being healthy is directly at odds with hating yourself. It's not going to work out for you. You cannot punish yourself like that. The way I like to look at it is I try to think of myself in a lot of ways like a toddler, right? Like there are certain things that I want to do that I can't always do, but so to give you an example, like let's say a toddler comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to eat a whole pack of Oreos." Would you be like, "Oh, you're terrible, you're disgusting. Why would you want that? What the hell's wrong with you?" Or would you be like, "Oh, okay, well, let's eat this healthy dinner and then we can have one or two after dinner." So, like I put boundaries in place with myself, but then I give myself kindness. Like you don't berate yourself. Like it is okay to want things, to feel things, to do things. That is okay.
Something you said before just rings a bell about, the way your body was changing through this. And it's like, hang on, it's going from the lower half of my body, not the upper half. Like, what the fuck's going on? I
Yeah.
remember saying a comment to you, and it is so true, like that your body will go through multiple different shifts before you get to something resembling a final form.
Hmm.
And you can see that now. Like if we were to go through all your sets of progress photos the last few years, like there's been points along the way where you look at it, it's just like, holy shit, like this woman's body's coming along, but it's looking different. Every like 6 to 9 months, it's a different version of you, if that makes sense. And that's one thing you have to sort of wrap your head around going through it yourself, is that the way it's changing today may not be the way it changes this time next year.
Hmm.
And even now, like, with the way you are now, like getting more shapely, getting more definition, like where previously when you were first changing, it's just getting smaller.
Hmm.
Now you're at the stage where, things are starting to pop.
Yeah, I'm at the fun point now, so I'm excited about that.
Yes, definitely at the fun point, but you got to go through a whole lot of shit to get there. When your
You do.
brain wants to tell you, like, fuck this, it's not working, these people are full of shit.
I said that a lot. I said that many, many times.
I mean, you were half right. We're just not full of shit about this. Small wins. One of your favorite phrases, Courtney.
Yeah.
What sort of wins, smaller wins, have you had along the way that you may not have previously acknowledged?
Okay, so like a big one for me is like going and giving what I have, even if it's not perfect. Because like the old me would be like, I can't completely nail this, so I'm not even gonna try. And now I'm like, you know what? Like I may not have a perfect, sorry, my dog is, pugs. Um so, I may not have a perfect session. I may not have a perfect meal prep, but just improve what you can. For like one of my weaknesses is wings. I love hot wings. Like I love hot wings, right? And so I'll still have hot wings, but I'm gonna have, the dry rub. Just a little upgrade, just a little bit here and there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to just keep going. 1% better is still better. And then, also the ability to put myself first. It's very difficult, especially when it like inconveniences people, like friends or family. Like there's definitely been times where I'm like, I'm sorry, like I want to hang out with you and I will, but you're gonna have to give me an hour to go to the gym first, and that just is what it is. In the old me, the people pleaser me had a really hard time with that. Like, oh no, they're gonna be so mad at me, and I can't believe I'm doing this. But no, like, sorry, this is happening. And then, another small win I have in here is like teaching my kids about nutrition and fitness. I absolutely adore that. My kid he's doing baseball, and it's been so fun to be a part of that with him and to be able to actually like play and be a part of it with him. Um, it it's truly it's amazing. I love that.
I love that too. What a great win. Um, Next one, is that all is there any more that you want to add?
Oh, I mean, I can give a million small wins, but those are the ones I had listed. But if you want to talk about like other small wins, like I can remember, one of the coolest things was like sitting with my legs crossed. Like I hadn't been able to do that in years, so that was
Nice.
fun. And then, putting them against my chest like that is super fun. Something new that I had been able to do. Yeah, obviously clothes, like it's so much fun to fit into the clothes that you always wanted to wear. I love that. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
There's a lot of small ones. I love
I know
that.
you could probably keep going forever. All right. Next question for you is, what advice would you give to someone starting where you did?
Okay, so like number one for me, and I think this is the most important thing, is that you have to calm the fuck down. You have to. Like, you have to. You have to calm the fuck down. Like, if you are so obsessed with this and you're like, I need to lose weight now. Like, I remember I used to go into those calorie calculators online and they would give dates. And I'd be like, okay, by February 17th, I need to be exactly 21.5 pounds down. And if I'm not, then that's a major issue. No, no, stop that. Like, you have got to stop that. Like, none of this is an emergency. Like, this is the rest of your life that you have to figure this out. So, like, just relax, like, take it one step at a time and realize, like, this is not an emergency. And then for my second piece of advice, I have keep the promises that you made to yourself. The promises you make matter. You have to cultivate that trust within yourself. Like, and I touched on it earlier, but it is so important to be able to rely on yourself, because at the end of the day, like, you have to rely on yourself more than you can rely on anyone else. And that's just how it is. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Love that.
And then for number 3, I have focus on you and your plan. Block out the noise. We had many, many discussions about blocking out the noise because I always wanted to optimize everything. Well, this science article said this, or this is going on, or, what if I could do it slightly better by doing this? But you're just harming yourself when you do that. Like, you stick to your plan. It is there for a reason. See it through. All right, so for number 4, I have treating yourself with dignity and respect. It is so important to be kind to yourself, be fair to yourself, humble yourself when it's necessary, but be kind to yourself. It's so difficult on mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the above. And this is a really big undertaking to change your life like this. So it is okay to have all the feelings, everything that you need to work through. Just work through it with time. Give yourself grace. This is something that people have a lot of background that they need to go through, a lot of pain, a lot of things that have been done to you in your life. Give yourself time to work through all that. It's okay.
Nice.
For number 5, I have meet yourself where you're at, humble yourself, and accept being a beginner. That was big for me, obviously never being in the gym. That was hard for me to accept, being bad at stuff. But that's the only way to get better. It's the price of admission. And anyone that is great at something was once terrible at it. So allow yourself to be bad at it. That's okay. That's the only way you're going to get better. And being bad at it is way better than not doing it at all. So keep that in mind.
That's one thing I always remind myself of something new is like you said you saw the price of admission, like you've got to suck at it long enough to get good at it.
Yeah, totally.
So good.
And I have a surprise number 6 because you guys always have a surprise.
Yeah.
And I have embrace your dreams. Be honest with what you really want for yourself. Like, it is so important with goal setting to be accurate on what you want. Like I said, you have to be just a little bit delusional on what you can accomplish, because what you believe becomes true. If you believe that you can do it, that is the hardest part right there, and that will take you the furthest. Like, the belief in yourself is so important. Do not undersell that.
I love that. It's one thing I've noticed predominantly working with women over the years is that when you ask women about goals and dreams, is what this really is, they'll aim low, lower than what they really want, because that's all they think they can get. But your advice is so spot on. Like, aim a bit higher, actually. Make it just a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, just a little bit. You can't be completely unrealistic to the point with like timelines and things like that, because that's going to hurt you. But as far as your actual dreams go, if this is something that is important to you, then go out there and make it happen. So it was a big thing for me because I was getting ready to turn 30 and I'm like, what is the rest of my life going to look like? And I had given up on so many things already. being fit was one of the things that I had always wanted to achieve. And I was like, man, it must be nice, must be nice. Like, I would love to achieve that. And then I had a moment, like, really, what is separating me from these people? Like, are they truly just these amazing fitness gods that are just genetically blessed and that I will just never be able to reach? Or like, is there something more to this? And so, and a big part of that was you when you said that, like, you always make an effort to hit every workout. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to make an effort to hit every workout, even if it's not perfect, even if things go awry, I'm going to make that effort. And so I do, and I did.
Nice.
Unreal.
Love it.
I think we can't do better than this. I think we can pretty much wrap this up here. Do you have any final comments, Ricci? Final comments, thoughts? I mean, abuse. Now's your chance to tell us to go and screw ourselves.
I just want to say, like, thank you guys so much for all the time that you've spent with me. And you guys have talked about that message that I said, but like, it's the real deal. Like, the way that we've connected is something that is really special and something I'll treasure for the rest of my life. And it's completely changed the trajectory of my life. Like, my life is totally different today than it was. I feel, forever so grateful for this opportunity. And I feel like you guys are the most amazing people, and I feel so grateful to know you. Like, how amazing is it that I live in this like little tiny town in Wyoming of all places, and you guys live in Australia, like that we've been able to meet each other and connect. Like, that is so cool. That is so cool.
One of the, like, now these days, rare benefits of the internet is that you can make connections that just were not possible 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, wife?
No, that was amazing. Thank you.
Thank
you for being so honest as well with this.
I have one thing to add in terms of final comments, because most people will look at you, Ricci, and they'll see the outside. And that's what they'll ask you about, is like, oh my God, what is your secret? For people that have gone through it themselves, I look at it, your physical results, as weird as this sounds, is almost the least impressive thing that you've improved on, because it's the final result of all the traits that have been developed here in terms of self-respect, leadership, trust, integrity, accountability, resilience, persistence, consistency. These are the things that, for me personally, speaking as Matt, this is what impresses me the most about you. What you look like now is just the byproduct of all of that.
Oh yeah, it's so true. And I appreciate that. Those are all qualities that I am super proud of, that I've worked really hard to develop, and that are just have benefited my life immeasurably inside and outside of fitness. And it's not on the subject of discipline. Discipline is a skill like any other skill. There are not just people that are just magic, David Goggins, like masters out here. Like, you have to actively work for it, and you're gonna not always nail it, and that's okay. Like, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then you'll turn around and you're like, holy shit, like, I cannot believe I've come this far. you know
Your ability to continue to show up even when there are plenty of reasons that people would use to not might be the biggest thing that separates you from most people.
Yeah. It was hard. I was looking at losing my job. I was looking at all the emotional problems, like I had brought up, I always struggle with my mom. Like, when I first got pregnant, the first thing my mom said to me, and I'll never forget it. I had a little, because I surprised her with like the onesie, and she was like, well, now you've really done it. Like, you will never ever have a good body now. Congratulations. Like, that's what she told me. And like, now it's so funny, like, being on the other side now, because her comments like cannot make or break me. Like, I have cultivated my body, I have earned my body, and she cannot take that from me.
I think what you realize as well is that all comments like that is just what someone else believes. You don't have to buy into it.
100%. And I told you a couple weeks ago that I was super excited, is that she finally told me, she's like, oh, it's disgusting, you have man shoulders. And I'm like, fuck yes. Hell yes. That is the biggest compliment I think anyone can give me. I appreciate that so much.
And now I'm never wearing sleeves around you ever again because you
Hell
will
yeah.
look at my shoulders every
Yes.
time you see me.
There is a when you have I use the phrase for me personally, when you have that pettiness inside you, giving select receipts sometimes can be so fucking satisfying.
It is. And I will say, like, on the subject of pettiness, like, I did run into that girl, and I ran into her at a grocery store, and she could not even look at me, just looked any other direction she could. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, you like them apples?
Love that.
Thank you so much for this. The wisdom, the perspective, the insight, like, it's priceless. Like, you've got a lot to give here, a lot that you can share with people as well. So massive thanks from us. Like, the pride that we have in you is we can't overstate it. Like, yeah, you're a special person.
You guys are the real deal. So it's all.
We are the real deal when we work with people who are the real deal. Like, it's always a team effort. Like, it has to be. We're only as good as you are. So thanks for making us look good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So how was that? Hopefully you got as much out of that as we did.
Yeah. It was
Actually,
amazing.
I mean,
Amazing chat. We could have kept going, honestly. Even after we finished recording, there was things that she said, oh, I didn't talk about this, or I didn't talk about this. So, yeah, we definitely could have kept going.
we potentially hit the stop button too early on the recording because there was more afterwards, but who's to say there won't be a part 2 eventually?
Yeah.
But Courtney, out of interest, what did you get out of that? What were your takeaways?
I think my biggest takeaway was just the conversation around mentally dealing with success. And I think that is something that isn't spoken about enough.
Have we been guilty of that?
We probably have been, you mean guilty of not talking about it? Yeah, I think so. But I think it really only comes up profoundly when somebody has been impacted profoundly by it.
Okay.
And I feel like that probably hasn't been our profound experience. That's why it hasn't come up in conversation as much. So it takes somebody who has been impacted profoundly by it and been able to mentally work through that to really shine a spotlight on it. And I think she did it perfectly. And it was really interesting to see her process of dealing with that.
Yep.
And I think that will be, I'm hoping, really helpful for people because, as I said, it's not spoken about that much.
For me, my biggest takeaway was that when you see someone like that has changed so much on the outside, often you can be almost forgiven for you stop just at that. Like, oh my God, you look so much better. How amazing. That's not the most impressive part of what she's done.
No.
The most impressive changes have occurred below the surface.
Yeah.
So what you see on the outside is a byproduct of the way the mentality changes, the way she's applied herself in terms of work ethic, the persistence, the consistency, the resilience, the education, what she's learned along the way.
Yeah.
Like I said to her after we stopped recording, like I said to her a couple of times now that I think she has what it takes to actually teach this herself one day if she wanted to, just with the way she's developed mentally. But it just really points to what we said a few times on the podcast over the years, is that a weight loss journey is about more than just weight loss. So many other things have to change that you don't see.
Yes.
And what happens on the outside is literally just a byproduct of what changes on the inside. So that's what I took away the most. It's just that this is the complete transformation. It's not the outside is just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, if I was wearing a hat, it'd be a tip of the cap for this young woman.
Absolutely. So we can't thank her enough for giving up her time to do that interview with us.
But also thanks to her and congratulations on her achievements to this stage.
And I was actually just going to say thank you her as well for the vulnerability that she shared with us, or that she showed. Some of those topics would not have been easy to speak about, and the fact that she was willing to do that and in such a public forum where she could impact and help other people was just amazing.
Yeah. She's tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. So we're going to head off. So, yeah, hopefully you got a lot out of that. Another episode coming soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you ready to share your success? Head over to our website for full access to our show notes, resources based on today's topic, and links to our Facebook group so you can share your story with our hosts and many others out there who are looking to achieve and maintain their health and fitness goals. You can find all that and more exclusively at theweightlosspodcast.com.